Hey, family. Welcome to Daughter TV, a place that is dedicated to the total wellness of the total woman. My name is Samantha Grimes, and I am a kingdom woman. I am a wife. I am a mama. I am a senior pastor, a certified life strategist, prophetess, and founder of Daughter LLC, which is a private practice and women's ministry. Right? And Daughter TV 24, the channel that you're on, is an extension of that business tree and of that movement. Amen. And we are currently in a YouTube exclusive series called The Healed Woman. All the little pink couches down your timeline. That's us right now. And so we're in a series called The Healed Woman, and it's a series of chats that we're having, just dealing with some areas that we need healing and restoration as women of God. Amen. Now, listen, if you are a faithful podcast listener, don't you worry. Our podcast is coming back. It's coming back like it ain't never left. Okay. Don't you worry about that. But we are on a podcast break. And so that gives you a time to catch up with all of our old podcast episodes. And that gives us a time to also hear the voice of the Lord about what it is that we need to be talking about next in that series. And that airs on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and right here on this channel on YouTube. But right now we're doing something that's just for you, just for my YouTubers, a YouTube exclusive series, right? So with that said, have you subscribed yet? Just go ahead right now. Don't even wait. Just boop, hit that button. Hit that subscribe button. And if you've already done that, then hit the notification bell so that you do not miss any of our future events. Okay? All right. So, you guys, we're having a very important conversation today. I wish I had a gavel I can bang. Hear ye, hear ye. We're having a very important conversation today. And I'm very excited about it. This conversation is very important to me. And it's one of the type of conversations that I could talk a lot about. I could do a series on, I could do a documentary on, I could do a Bible study on. It has layers, it has nuances to it. Okay. But today we're just doing a video. That's what the Holy Spirit is breathing on today, is this video. And the topic is called Healing Beautiful. Now, hearing that, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Okay. I'm going to put the words together. Does she mean this? Does she mean that? We're going to get into it. So I want to start here. You guys, there is a popular 90s sitcom. Now, if you don't know this 90s sitcom, with love, you might be living under a rock. I'm not going to judge you, but you might be living under a rock. Okay. And the 90s sitcom is Martin. I don't know anybody that doesn't know Martin. Like, even when I was back in college, this is before streaming. Dudes I knew in the dorms had bought the complete box set and would go in their room and watch Martin. Like I don't know anybody who doesn't love that show. Now, that show was highly problematic in a lot of different areas, but was it funny? My God. Yes, it was. It was so funny. One of the best of the 90s sitcoms, and I feel like the millennial generation, we love the 90s. We miss a simpler time. Okay. But if you ever watch the show is about a comedian. His name is Martin, and much like the Steve Harvey show, it's a comedian where the show is about his life. And on the show, he plays a radio DJ. He eventually becomes a talk show host of his own show. But prior to that, he was a radio DJ. He had a girlfriend named Gina, played by Tisha Campbell. And her best friend, which was Sheena Arnold, who played a character named Pam. And then he had two best friends, which was Tommy and Cole. Tommy is no longer with us, and I hate that. But it was a hilarious show. He played multiple characters, from Shanae to Jerome to Superfly to Dragonfly Jones to Otis. Like, he played all the characters. He did all the things. And it was a funny show, but I'm actually bringing up the show because I want to highlight two characters, right? If you ever watched the show, there were two characters. The first was Gina. Gina played Martin's girlfriend, who eventually became Martin's wife toward the end of the show. And let me just say this in defense of production. wardrobe, and the entire situation. There are certain things that are embedded in our culture. Okay. We live in a fallen world. Okay, y'all, this is Babylon, right? In a lot of ways. Again, if you hear any crying or whimpering, it's my son. He's, going through some things. He's maturing. Give him some grace. But yeah, so there are things that are embedded in our culture, and there are things that are in each generation just the way that it is. And people don't see an issue in it yet. It's usually the next generation that catches the issue and deals with it. And then that generation deals with the next, and it just kind of keeps going, keeps going, keeps going. And so in defense, there was a way that things just were amongst in that generation, and in a way that things just were amongst African American people in that generation. So just in defense. Okay, just all right. And so boom. With that said, if you ever paid attention to the character of Gina, right? Don't think about the jokes she made or the jokes they made on her, or even think about Martin, because all of this is scripted. So think about like the show designers, think about the producers, wardrobe, makeup, the people that meticulously put the details together that create the outer aesthetic of a character. Okay. And if you ever looked at Gina, their goal was to make the audience see Gina as beautiful. Their goal was to make you see Gina as this beautiful, like born with just great genes, beautiful, statuesque woman. Even in the midst of them roasting her, the men that would roast her also really, really wanted her, right? They dressed her in a way, and Gina could be beautiful, and that beauty allowed Gina to be smart. That beauty allowed Gina to be creative in the advertising agency. That beauty allowed Gina to have a great sense of style. That beauty allowed Gina to stand out in every room she was in. She was articulate. She was, I mean, all of the different things they let Gina be beautiful. Absolutely stunning. Okay. And then, this is no shade to anybody, but look at Pam. Okay. Pam. Now, if you ask me, and probably most of the African American community, Pam was gorgeous. Pam was fine. Pam was all of that. But it wasn't really about how Pam was in real life. It's about how they wanted you to see the character. Now, Pam, if you watched an interview once with Tashina Arnold, and she said Pam was written for a plus size woman, and they were going to make a bunch of fat jokes pretty much during the show about her, but they ended up casting Tashina, so they had to find other things to make fun of because she was supposed to be somebody that Martin is constantly, just ripping on comedically. Like that was the whole point. But even take that piece out of it and look at Pam. Pam is beautiful, but they always dressed Pam, talked about Pam, Pam's dialogue, the way that they would have Pam talk to men, the way that they would have Pam operate or think, or even in her friendship. Pam was always overly sexualized. They made her a bit promiscuous. They made her entire identity attached to her body, but not in the way that not in a self-esteem kind of way, or like she was into fitness or something. Like no, like they made Pam overtly sexy, I mean, just over the top sexy. I mean, even in her outfits, some of her outfits were so fresh, but they would make it several sizes too small. They would put the belly out, they would tie it up here, and even though it was a great outfit, they put it on her in a way to send a message, right? A lot of things with TV and music is very subtle, under the radar programming. A lot of little, especially because back in the day you couldn't be as out front with things that you can be today. Like today, just turn on HBO, but back then you couldn't do that. Like, so they had to be subtle about it, and they had to basically program you to perceive this person this way. And you start to perceive not just this person this way, but if you have anything about yourself that's in relation to that character, you start to see yourself that way, or people that you know that way. And that's not actually who they are, but that was the kind of the whole point. What am I talking about? Right? What am I talking about? I'm talking about beauty. See, Pam and Gina were absolutely beautiful women, breathtakingly beautiful. I mean, Pam couldn't be beautiful like Gina, and Gina couldn't be beautiful like Pam. Like, oh my God, it was just about what is your taste? What are you into? You know? But there's a way that they wanted you to perceive them, right? And here's the thing. I'm bringing up these characters to say one thing. When you look in the scriptures, when you look in the Bible, and you look at how God described many main characters that were women in the Bible, look at Sarah, look at Esther, right? Um, Look at Deborah. You know, these women were described as very beautiful. These women were described as very beautiful, right? Abraham literally had to lie when he went into different nations. And we talked about this in the last video. It was a technical lie because they were technically related, but they weren't related. And that was his wife. But he would lie and say that was his sister because he knew she was so beautiful that these men are going to want her. Mind you, there was no bodycon dresses back in the day. So a woman's beauty was a lot about her face and her overall countenance and her spirit and her hair and things that are like that you immediately see. Same thing about Esther. Esther's beauty is what God anointed to get her into the palace to become queen, to save a people from genocide, right? This was the norm. You know what I mean? And here's the thing. This was holy. And this was good. What was the first thing that Adam said to Eve when he saw her? He looked at her and he said, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, right? He's saying she is a part of me, but he's also acknowledging, man, like you look good. Okay. I don't know if that's what to say that. You know what I mean? The way that the men wrote poetry in the scriptures to the women, like it was, I mean, everything about her, they just want to just bow their crown. They just want to kiss her hand. They just, I mean, obsessed. I mean, beautiful. This was God's idea, God's thing. Every time he made a woman, from then to now, his mindset was simply that. Now, did God make you smart? Yes. Did God make you creative? Yes. Did God make you ingenuitive? Yes. Did God give you all these different gifts? Did God make you athletic? Did God make, oh my goodness, yes. But understand that there is a way that a woman carries beauty that is unique and different than a man. That's why, and I just got to be honest, as a woman of God, a transgender man, a drag queen with all that makeup and all that hair can't touch the essence of a woman. You will never be able to be as beautiful as a woman. A woman can have no makeup on, no hair, wearing, you know, a t-shirt and some jeans, and she exudes a beauty that cannot even be described. It is something that burns from the inside. It shines from the inside, right? And so here's the thing. The enemy understands a part of your power. One of, because we have many weapons, but one of the many weapons that God has given women is beauty. And so one of the demonic tactics of the enemy, and one of the things that has been attacked from generation to generation, is to get you to detach from it. Is to get you to detach from it. Okay. So what does that mean, to get you to detach from it? The goal is to get you to literally, here's the thing. The enemy, let me say it like this. The enemy can't just come in and take whatever he wants to take and do whatever he wants to do. Okay. If he could do that, you would be dead. Okay. So the fact that you're still here means he can't do what he wants to do. You are covered by God. You are under grace, the blood of Jesus, the power of God in your life. You know what I'm saying? It's great. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. But understand. So what is his goal? Is to get you to lay it down. Now, what does that mean? He can't make you ugly, but he can make you detach yourself from that entire identity and from that entire world and to live a lesser life, to suppress what is God given and to suppress what is natural and to step into something lesser. What does that mean practically? Again, go back to the example of Gina and Pam. Gina was beautiful. And so was Pam. But Gina got to be beautiful. Pam didn't. Really think about it. Really think about it. Gina got to be beautiful. Pam didn't. What does that look like practically? You guys, and again, I'm not calling anybody out personally. If this relates to you, if this connects, then okay. But for many people, many women, it's you don't see yourself as beautiful. No one's ever really said that about you or made you feel, that kind of way. Maybe your parents spoke death over you and not life. Maybe there's been something in the way that created a shame around that word, around that aesthetic, around that entire thought process. And so you look for something lesser you can cling to. I can't be beautiful, but I can be sexy. I can't be beautiful, but I sure am smart. Yeah, I can't be beautiful, but I'm the best at blah, 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 blah. You're looking for something else to cling to. But here's the truth. You are beautiful. And there's something you abandon by saying, I can't be that, so I'll take the lesser. I was once watching this talk show. I think it's actually The Real. And they were talking about like they get like different topics. And so they have to dig in a bowl and take out a topic and ask, and the people who watch the show ask them a question and they answer the question. And I think I mentioned this before in a previous podcast episode, but it was so good. So they pull the question out and they said, what would you prefer? Would you prefer to be beautiful or would you prefer to be sexy? And literally, Adrienne Bailon first, I want to be sexy. I mean, she just went in, all the different things. And Tamara actually said, I was so surprised by this, but it's so good. She said, I would rather be beautiful. I would rather be beautiful because, and she understood a concept that a lot of people don't talk about because it wars against the world's system. But in a lot of ways, for a woman, if you are beautiful, just like look at the character of Gina, Gina could be beautiful. Why? Because when you are beautiful, you are also very sexy. When you are beautiful, you can also be smart. When you are beautiful, you can also be ingenuitive, creative, a great wife, a great mama, a great businesswoman, a great whatever. It's simple. But when you choose something lesser than what God designed for you, then you get the limitations of the lesser. Here's the thing, sexuality or being sexy has its limitations, and that's all you can be. That's it. That's all you can be. That's all you can be is sexy. And at some point, that's going to get old and that's going to get tired. I know the world, everything is overly sexualized and everything out here is just, you know what I'm saying? Sex sells, blah, 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 blah. This isn't about beauty versus sexuality because we're all sexual creatures. So that's going to be the case. But now detaching yourself from what God has ordained for you to say, oh, I'll just be this. I'll just settle for this. I know how to do this. Like men aren't going to look at me and turn their head and say, oh my gosh, she's so gorgeous. But I can be a city girl. I can dress a certain way. I could put myself in different positions. I could do XYZ. And this is how I'm going to get that same kind of attention. And the reality is it may look the same, but it's not the same. This man wants to pursue you, values you, and wants a life with you. This man just wants your body to satisfy him. And when he's done with you, he's going to kick you to the curb. That sounds bad, but that's the truth of the matter. You listen, y'all, if we look back in the day, and I say back in the day, I don't mind talking about the 90s or the 80s. I'm talking about like Bible times, war times, whatever. These men, look at the fairy tale. The men had to kill dragons, break open a castle, travel miles, give their life just for you. You weren't half naked. You none of that was a thing. None of that was a thing. And that principle is still true. Like that, like you are still a woman who is worthy of someone fighting for your honor, protecting your honor. You know what I mean? What does it look like practically? This man needs to be able to give his life at the altar before God and his mama and your mama before he gets an opportunity. Like seeing yourself as precious and beautiful and delicate and valuable. And the enemy's number one tactic is to get you wrapped up in shame and manipulate you out of a position of power. We live in a world, especially because of feminism and all this stuff out here, that now it's this whole mindset of like, if he sees you as beautiful, then he's gonna see you as a piece of property, and you're smart and you could do this and you could do that. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And I don't have to choose. You don't have to choose. Understand, like a woman that is truly beautiful to a man. And I use the term beautiful, not just sexy, not just hot, not just somebody that was cute that I met at a club one time. I mean, whatever the case may be, he sees all of her. All of her. Y'all, I know the world wants to simplify men and make them seem like they just these dumb cavemen that just want booty and chicken wings. But let me tell you, men have depth. Men have things that they desire and they want in their women. Men are thinking about purpose partners too. Men are thinking about what they want in their life too. Who am I gonna let raise my kids? Who am I gonna let in my house? Who, you know what I'm saying? And so what you got to understand is your beauty was meant to be as much a part of that as all of the other things. You don't have to choose. And for some of you need beautiful healed. You have been living your whole life almost separate from that idea and focusing your entire identity on something else that is lesser. It's a part of beauty, but it's lesser. It's like getting a burrito and you only focus on the beans. You only focus on the rice. But you don't understand, you can have the whole burrito. You get to have the whole burrito. Just because you don't feel beautiful doesn't mean that you are not beautiful. Just because you don't fit an aesthetic that nobody else fits, doesn't make you any less beautiful. Just because you're not thick enough or thin enough, just because you're not a particular complexion or whatever the case may be. I mean, honestly, somebody brought it up recently, but even in the Gina and Pam dynamic, people accuse it of colorism. But here's the thing. It might have been. I don't think they see it like that because they were alive and hanging out and doing things around the 90s. But here's the thing. You're not in the TV show. This is real life. Okay? And in real life, God did not create you and say only light-skinned women can be beautiful. Only dark-skinned women can be beautiful. Only brown-skinned women can be beautiful. Like, y'all, so many of us have laid down beautiful for something lesser. You've laid down beautiful for something lesser, something weaker, something that was meant to be an accessory to that, not to become the star of the show. Not to become the star of the show. And what does the enemy do? He tries to create a shame and uses that shame as a bridge between you and that identity. You and enjoying that, being confident in that, using that as a tool in your hand to defeat the kingdom of darkness, using that as a tool in your hand to heal, using that as a tool in your hand to do all the things that God has called you to do. So he creates this shame, this barrier until you are this. Why do that? Think about that. I want you to think about somebody who is trying to strategize against you. If you're thinking about somebody trying to strategize against you, why attack that if it doesn't matter? Why try to convince you otherwise if it doesn't matter? Because he understands the power your beauty possesses. He understands the power your beauty possesses. And so let me make it attainable until you look like this, until you weigh this, Until your hair is like this, until you have no imperfections, you have not achieved beauty yet. And not understanding that what was the lie? What was the lie with Eve? There's something that you don't have that you can't access unless you go against God. Not realizing that she had everything already. Y'all, with some of you, you don't need lighter skin. You don't need teeth surgery. You don't need new clothes. You don't need to lose 100 pounds. You don't need to gain 50 pounds. You don't need better makeup. You don't need whatever. And it's not that these things don't help or don't make you feel good or are not, great accessories, but they are not the thing that makes you beautiful. Y'all, so many things are a mindset first. So many things are a mindset first. You have to be a millionaire in here long before you get $1 million in your bank account. You got to be beautiful here. You have to be convinced here before any of this. Before any of this. Because there's always going to be something that somebody can say. There's always going to be something about you that is imperfect. Because guess what? You are imperfect. And that is a part of what makes you beautiful. There is a beauty that you carry that no other woman carries. There is no woman in the world who is beautiful like you. Nobody. Nobody. You do not have to settle for sexy. You do not have to settle for thick. You do not have to settle for slim. You do not have to settle for smart. You do not have to settle for, well, yeah, but everybody likes me though. I'm easy going. But you get to be beautiful too. That's how we're wired as women. We are wired to be desired. We are wired to be. Why do you think so many women get tricked into letting all of these men play with their body and play with themselves? Because there's something in you that knows that you're supposed to be adored. There's something in you that knows that God created me in such a way that I'm supposed to be seen this way. And so I have settled for a cheaper way of getting that. But the problem is you're the only one left used. You're the only one left used. I really feel like in this video, the Lord wants to begin to heal your heart of that. Like how many things does God say about you? You're beautifully and fearfully and wonderfully made. Your royalty. There's no flaw in you. And that's hard to receive. That's hard to receive. Because there's something in you. There's an aesthetic, a model. And it's different each generation. This generation thinks you're supposed to look like this. That generation thinks you're supposed to look like that. You ain't never going to be good enough. Never. My God. So the enemy has created this barrier of shame between you and who you really are, between you and what you really get to think and believe. You get to be beautiful too. I'm not talking about just being fine. Listen, like I said, sex appeal is in there. Being fun in there. Being smart in there. Being capable in there. Ingenuitive, creative, wise, all the things. But at the end of the day, when God made women, beauty was a part of his theory. You understand, there's a glory God gets out of each of us individually because we're all uniquely made, uniquely loved, uniquely designed. So there is a glory. There is a glory. Hear me. There is a glory that God gets out of your beauty when you rest in it, when you own it, and you enjoy it, that he can't get from anybody else. And the enemy knows that. So let me detach her as much as I possibly can. And let me get her so wrapped up in the lesser thing. It's like a cycle. Your enemy likes to toss you into a cycle because he can't be everywhere all at the same time. So he's not God. So he tried to toss you in a cycle. And that cycle is supposed to keep you busy so that you don't have time to achieve the thing that you're purposed to do and to be. But if you break out of that cycle and don't go back, then you can focus in on what you really were made and anointed and called to do and to be. Understand this. I'm not telling you that you're beautiful because I want to be empowering. I'm not telling you that you're beautiful because I want to be motivational. I'm not telling you that you're beautiful because I just don't want you to feel bad. I'm telling you because it is the truest thing I've ever said out of my mouth. If I ever said you're not beautiful, I'm a liar. Now, here's the thing. You may not be everybody's type. People like what they like and they don't like what they don't like. But at the end of the day, everybody is somebody's type. And when I say somebody, I don't mean just one person. There are people. That's how you get you caught up with all these people that you ain't supposed to be with, because there are people that are going to see you the right way, including the person that God wants you giving your time and your energy and your attention to. Let me tell you something. When women see themselves as beautiful, as valuable, as precious, as delicate, as worthy, as holy, as all of those things, it changes how you show up in the world. It changes what you will and will not entertain. You stop being a pick-me. You stop trying to chase these men when men were wired to pursue women. Okay? You understand their value. If they are not interested, okay, I'm not missing out. You are a prize. It's not that men aren't a prize too. They are. I can have a whole conversation about how I think men should think about themselves, but we're talking about you today. You hear my son in the background. He's going through something. But yeah. So I really said this today, encouraging you to really pursue God to heal you from whatever shame. You know what that shame is. If that shame is body type, if that shame is complexion, if that shame is hair texture, if that shame is just the stereotypes around society, if there were people in your family that said things that were meant to break you, if there were things that people said at school that were meant to hurt you, if it's height situation, you're not tall enough, you're not short enough, you don't like this, your limbs are too short, they're not long enough, things aren't whatever your shame is, it's time to lay that down at the altar and let God begin to deal and heal with that. God, deal and heal with that thing that keeps me separate from beautiful. Why is this a difficult conversation? This is so simple. A woman is beautiful. That's like water to wet. A woman is beautiful. Why is that hard for me? Why is that even a thing? Why do I always settle for something lesser? Like I don't get to be a part of that conversation. Like I'm not one of those. And you are. Really pursue God for healing. Y'all, my son is crying, so I'm about to go check on him. But all the information of how you can book with me, how you can work with me, how you can buy, all the things we have going on will be in the show notes below. All right. I love you guys. See you next episode.